Kuigel. He was a school psychologist in Denver, Colorado, and he was also a photographer. He visited Turkey with a photography group in 1996. And a local high school student approached him and said, I want to practice my broken English with you. Do you want to spend a couple minutes with me to speak English? And he gratefully accepted. And then later on, they became pen pal friends. And then later on, they became best friends. And after that Turkish kid has graduated from college, Jeff Kuigel invited him to the United States to study his English further. And he actually ended up paying for his master's degree. And it has become an inspirational story for a lot of different people. My name is Saka, and I'm a Muslim American. I was born in Turkey, and possibly you have guessed that I was that Turkish child. I came to the United States year 2000, and unfortunately, just about a year later, 9/11 happened. And it just shocked to me my core. I didn't know what to do with it or how to comprehend it. Because whatever was happening in front of me on the TV was not resonating with me because it was not my faith. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't understand it. And everybody was asking me, what's going on? What's the situation? And I was asking my friend, religion, God, Jesus, Muhammad, Quran. And I always remember that my friend Jeff sent me an email saying that in the United States, we do not talk about three topics. We don't talk about politics, we don't talk about the personal life, and we don't talk about religion. And I was a little bit shocked, because if you add sports into this list, that is all we talk about in Turkey. What else is left to talk about except weather, maybe? I don't know. So today I'm going to break one of his rules, and I'm going to talk about the religion. I know it's a little bit a sticky topic. It's not my profession. I'm not an authority in religion. But I just want to tell you my story, my adventure. Because I really believe in this. I don't know I have the answers for you, but I have a lot of stories to share with you. So when I came to the United States, I found out that religion has a bad reputation. A lot of people in the United States believe that religion is number one cause for most of the wars in the history. If we didn't have religion, maybe we wouldn't have that much violence in the history. And I was not accepting it. So I found the research. It's by Rabbi Alan Lurie, and he studied the Encyclopedia of Wars, and he found out that actually only 7% of all the wars in the history was religiously motivated. The rest of them had other reasons. And only 2% of the people all through the history has died in those warfare that was religiously motivated. So religion didn't deserve this reputation. We have other issues we had to solve with. Religion was something else. So, but what's happening nowadays? Because every day, as a Muslim American, I am facing this all the time. There's a news coming, and there is another violence somewhere out there. Somebody's blowing something. Somebody's driving a truck into somewhere. And I was keeping in my heart all the time saying, please, not this time. Let's have another reason, but not religious this time. Maybe this time, somebody didn't say Allahu Akbar before they drive the truck into a violence place or something that I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Maybe I was not getting the right answers because what I know doesn't match with it. I had to go out and find inspirations for myself. The people who really lead their faiths give me an idea how to deal with this. And then I found this sentence from Pope Francis, and he said, many people do not want peace because there are powerful people who are living off the war. And it just makes it even darker for me that it is a lot more than the religion, that they are going to promote more violence in there. And then I searched other inspirations. And this year we are remembering 50 years after the assassination of the Martin Luther King. And it also breaks my heart that we just had to go through that in the land of the United States. And then also we know what happened to Gandhi after he has done everything for nonviolence. And then we know Dalai Lama spent most of his life in exile outside of Tibet. And Mandela spent 40 years in jail without even a crime because he was trying to have peace between blacks and whites. And as a Turkish person, Turkish American, I have one more example that people were always asking me, okay, I get it. Maybe 3-5% of the Muslims are extremists, but what about the other 97%? Why are not doing anything? Why are they not saying anything? And I was telling them, actually, in Turkey, I have one example for you. There is a Muslim scholar, his name is Fethullah Gülen, and he actually brought the idea of interfaith to Turkey. He was the only Muslim leader who went to Vatican, meet with Pope, and talked about how to end violence in Middle East, how to end poverty in Middle East. He met with the chief rabbi of Israel. He met with the Orthodox leaders. And he inspired many Turkish people to open schools so the young generation can get educated so they don't become extremists. He helped them open hospitals and media outlets, everything. But last 20 years of his life almost, now he's in the United States as an exile. And thousands of the schools that he helped build are all shut down by the government. And more than 40,000 people of his followers ended up in jail. And there are babies right now in the jail because their parents have been supporting this cause in there, volunteering for this kind of interfaith effort. And it just gives me more, how can I say, discouragement that anybody goes into that direction, goes into a risky path, that they're gonna end something that is not favorable. And then I found one more example in Africa. Albert Lutuli, he was the president of the African National Congress, and he was really a big favor of peace between blacks and whites. And he was the first person to get Nobel Prize from the continent of Africa. He came to the United States in the 1960s, and he met with JFK, and he helped Martin Luther King to pass the civil rights laws from the Congress through his effort. But unfortunately, again, he spent 5 years of his life, at the end of his life, in an exile, and he died with a suspicious train accident. And it was giving me more discouragement that anybody goes in that direction, getting hurt at the end somehow, that maybe it was time to just say, this is what it is. But then I read another book, another sentence from Mahatma Gandhi, and he said, do not lose your hope in humanity. Do not ever do it. Couple drops of dirt does not make the ocean dirty. You have to keep believing in the humanity. So I just kept searching, how can I find more good stories, good examples, so I can put my effort into it, I believe in it. And then when I was reading a book called Dialogue in Islam, I saw this image in the book. It is the agreement of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he was living in Medina. He signed this agreement with the Jewish tribe of Nazareth. They were looking for a common ground, how to have Muslims and Christians live together peacefully. And in this agreement, he said that there will be no compulsion for the Christians. They are gonna be under Muslim protection. If the churches need repair, it will be repaired, and they will be respected. He said personally, the churches of the Christianity should be respected. And if somebody marries as a Christian with a Muslim, that person should be able to practice their prayer in a church. They should be allowed to do it. And I was like, if this is my leaders of my faith, if he is saying this, is there anybody is really following this? As a Muslim taking care of a church because of a common ground. And let me show you one more story from Pakistan.
Karachi, Lahore and now Islamabad, people are forming a human shield to protect this church after the devastating bomb in Peshawar.
As a Pakistani, as a Muslim, I'm here to show solidarity with my Christian brothers and sisters.
We're one nation and that it doesn't matter, our differences don't matter.
The group calls itself Pakistan for All and their message is loud and clear.
We are here to support our Christian brothers. The attack on the church was inhumane. This is not Islam. No religion permits terrorism. But we want to tell the world all leaders of all faiths stand united.
This event has created a spirit of oneness, irrespective of your faith, culture or color. everybody feels as one Pakistani.
There was a bombing in Peshawar in Pakistan, and as soon as the Muslim community heard about this, they came together with the coalition they called Pakistan for All, and they built a human shield in front of the churches in all over the country. In Islamabad, in Karachi, in different cities, they were protecting the churches so they don't get hurt anymore. And it was giving me the inspiration, because whenever we hear of Pakistan, we don't hear of these things. We don't get those stories. But they are there, that if the Prophet says that, their followers are following the same thing. And I have one more story to share from Virginia, Texas.
In Victoria, Texas, Muslims have been praying outside the ruins of their mosque since a weekend fire. We don't know what caused the fire, but we do know it ignited the passion of the city. Here's David Begnaud.
This charged shell is all that's left of the Victoria Islamic Center. The response has been uplifting. All faiths from the community have rallied in support of the center and turned out for a unity prayer service the day after the fire. Around the world,
from Africa, from Zimbabwe, from United Kingdom,
thousands of people have donated through an online GoFundMe page.
You've gotten nearly $1 million.
We've gotten nearly
from almost 20,000 people.
Correct.
In 3 days.
Exactly. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable and so uplifting. I cannot thank enough.
Dr. Gary Branfman, a local Jewish community leader, was one of the first to offer to help.
What the spark really did was, instead of dividing us, it actually united us.
What's the lesson we all should learn?
It just gives you a confirmation of the faith in humanity.
I want you to focus on that last sentence, confirmation of the faith in humanity. In this story, there was a fire in a mosque. We still don't know how it did start. But as soon as the whole community in Victoria, Texas came together with all different religious backgrounds, all kind of backgrounds, and they supported that mosque to be built again. And again, one of the first person to respond was a Jewish rabbi in that process. It just gave me hope again that it can happen. And let me give you guys one more example from also my history, that during the Nazi time, we know that Jewish people were all over the Europe, were persecuted by all these soldiers up there. So Turkish diplomats actually issued overnight passports for the Jewish people on Europe, and they gave them a crash course of Turkish so they can fool the guards at the train station that they are Turkish. Then they put them all into a train and bring them to Turkey so they can come to the safety. There are examples like that. When it comes to the humanity, all different faiths can come together. And that is what I want to believe in. That is what I want to do. Again, I don't have any solutions, but I want to at least put my hope and faith into humanity that it can happen. So, since I am really involved in this, I wanted to find out what other people said about this. What can I find? And I went to the internet. And I want to do some kind of a search and idea how much those faiths share together. If I can maybe build a Venn diagram, maybe we can really show to the earth the same idea, the famous idea that what we share is a lot more than that is different. And when I found on the internet, I wasn't really happy with it. There was only 4 or 5 items that we looked like we are sharing, but that didn't really answer what I wanted to do. So I decided I wanted to do my own Venn diagram. So I started my process. I started writing in there, as different faiths, we share the idea of God and the holy books that the God sent and the prophets and the fasting and angels, but it was still not enough for me. There should have been more than that. Then I just remembered what Gandhi said, and I was remembering that there should be humanity in there. It should be the foundation of our common ground. That is our biggest and first identity. That is our biggest link that we cannot break. Remember in the history, anytime somebody needed to hurt another group of people, the first thing they did was dehumanize them, treat them like a dog or something. Then they can kill them, or they can do genocide against them. So humanity is the biggest link. That is what we need to all agree on first. Then we can talk about the other identities. So for humanity, let me show you one more example from, again, our Islamic history. One day Prophet Muhammad was sitting with his friends on a street, and he saw a Jewish funeral passing by, and he immediately get up to his feet and he showed respect to that funeral. And his friend said, "What did you do? That was a Jewish man. Why did you get up?" And the Prophet said, wasn't he a human? He deserved the respect because he was a human being. Jewish or Islam comes the second. So it brings me the idea that with different leaders throughout the history, we can focus on this. Just like Pope Francis says that refugees cannot be treated like pawns. They are part of the humanity and they deserve the respect. And again, Fethullah Gülen, he said that first I am human, then I am a Muslim. My first identity, humanity. And can we say the same thing? Can we say that I am a human first, then a Christian or a Jew? Can we say I am a Christian, I am a human first, then I am an American or a male or female? Or can we say I am human first, then I am a Republic or Democrat? So we can get our priorities straight in there. So after the humanity, I start thinking what else we share a lot. And I thought of justice, which is really one of the foundation of all faiths, focusing on the justice throughout the history. And as we know, Martin Luther King said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we cannot just favor justice for one group of people and not for the others. We should all on the side of the justice that we can share together in there. So this list can go on. One of my Hindu friends told me that why don't you add the golden rule into this? Because almost every faith throughout the earth is sharing the golden rule. So she sent me this picture. It's quite interesting that I didn't even know almost more than 20 different faith traditions have some version of golden rule saying that something that you don't like for yourself, don't do it for your friend or for the others. It should be shared in there. So Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, they all share the same idea of the golden rule. So when I found out that we have a lot here in there, then those start being labeled different by other people. Some people call them universal values, some of them call the human traits, and these are the ones that we can share beyond the other religions. That we can have Hinduism, Buddhism, even the atheist, all the world citizens, we can agree on this. That we can have a common area, common ground, that we can be peaceful together. And we can add more into this common area. We can add family, we can add taking care of the sick and the weak and the poor. We can add to standing against injustice or corruption. We can make that bigger and bigger all the time, and that common area makes a lot more meaning in there. But you know what happens? This happens. Instead of putting our common areas together, we actually put our differences first. We share the common areas in the back. For example, they ask you, do you accept Muhammad as the last messenger? When you say no, then you are the other. Then we don't accept you anymore. They ask you, do you accept Jesus as your savior? And when you say no, then you don't get to share the family or community with them in there. We come distance from each other. And I do not want to live in this kind of a setting. That I want to live like a forest that we can share together. That Rabbi Jonathan Sacks says that you do have one earth, but many faiths. That is how God gave us in the first place. And these are things happening in the current local area in Syracuse, that there is World Harmony Day happening, and I am part of it, that more than 30 faith groups coming together and celebrating their diversity together. I am leading, and 7 other groups are leading interfaith dialogue circles, that each different people of faith can come together and share their ideas. And they always leave these conversations. Initially, they come feared, but they leave energized, and they want to do more because they want to ask questions and learn about it. So I want to leave with this one as a final thought, that I know it's been a long day. I want you to guys all just stand up for 1 minute, please. We have wonderful humans and people around us. And just like the whirling dervishes, the Rumi, I want you to be able to open your heart and your arm to people around you and tell them that you can live with them peacefully. So people on your right, people on your left, people on your back, please tell them, I can live peacefully with you. I see you as my human friend. Go ahead and do it. Oops. Thank you. And finally, please come back to yourself, go deep inside yourself, and tell yourself that I can live peacefully with myself because I am the most unique person in the whole universe. Thank you so much. Have a great day.